We're live. Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz. I've got the wrong thing on here. Let me get rid of that right away. There it is. There it goes. When Persephone take over. But remember, super chats, super stickers, greatly appreciated. I'm getting ready to send some photos to Lady Persephone.
Please don't forget to go and follow us on Twitch and follow us on Spotify and become a channel member and look at the merch. All that fun stuff.
All right, I just sent you all the pictures so you can see what it is I'm dealing with all your criticisms of my lighting and my this and my that.
I like to criticize. It's what I live to do.
Well,
anyway,
we might have a problem.
I don't think we have any questions for today. But I had something that I wanted to ask.
Well, by all means.
It's specific. Ask. We don't say A's like that. Akira, don't lie.
He's not.
Where did you ask a question? Okay. Well, while we wait for Akira to let me know.
There's no need to wait. Did you check the website for his question?
I did, but I don't see it.
Website. That's what he says. Check the website. Ooh.
So all of the form fills come to my email, and I don't see an email. So hold, please. Stop saying, oh my god. Stop using Twitch chat to talk shit. No, Akira, I don't see a question. The last question that I see is the parents' question.
He can try again.
Akira, you ended up in spam, my son. How did that happen?
Oh, Lord, have mercy on my ever-loving soul. Listen, folks, I apologize for this.
Okay, so Akira says, yesterday while hearing Michael rant about people asking stupid questions, I asked myself, why do people refuse to learn from stupid questions? For example, I've asked tons of stupid questions on the show because I would rather risk making a stupid question than act like I know what I'm talking about and actually be stupid like Nyron. Isn't it better to risk looking like an idiot than actually being an idiot? Shouldn't truth seekers be more concerned about truth than how they are perceived? I think I constantly make mistakes and overstate what I know, but I'm always ready to take back when I do it and apologize.
This is an interesting question, actually. And it gets to something I think very important, because one of the things I don't want to do, and it's hard, is you can't expect everybody to be where you are, right? So, like, not just in terms of the quality of the question, but in terms of what Akira said is about people being embarrassed about asking dumb questions. If somebody's self-esteem is such that they're not afraid of that, then they're already elevated a lot, right?
I'm going to disturb you to say thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I hope I'm better looking than Jiminy Cricket. She says, I really appreciate the show. Thank you both. Michael, you're like Jiminy Cricket, just significantly better looking, and somehow Persephone gets prettier every episode. Thank you so much, Nicole, for the super chat. 50 big ones. I just found out while I was in prison that Jiminy Cricket is the conscience. I never knew that growing up. I just found out.
What do you mean you didn't know?
I never paid attention. I just found out when I was watching the show Once Upon a Time. Look, back to the original thing.
Yeah.
So Akira's asking why people are afraid to ask, and they lack confidence, they lack self-esteem. That's why they need a show like this to build it. And that's why I do try to be more patient. Yesterday I had an abundance of caffeine And the question, it wasn't even the question. Honestly, it was Persephone. The question was not great. But when Persephone said that, well, it's better than most, that drove me nuts. But the thing is, we need to accept people where they are. When people are trying and they want to grow and they want to get better, we can't say, oh my God, why don't you understand this? Because that's why they're studying. That's why they're learning, so they can come to understand it. And I hope that's why people are tuning into this show, to learn, to grow from the discussion.
You know why one of the reasons that I think especially younger people are maybe a little bit more sensitive to looking stupid and asking stupid questions is because they grew up under, like, I don't want to say surveillance because they're putting themselves online, but they that like the younger generation, they grew up constantly sharing their lives with other people, and so looking stupid is the worst thing that can happen to them because they live their lives constantly online, sharing everything, and if looking stupid is worse than anything else to them. I saw someone say that Gen Z insults rely on like the concept of the like digital panopticon because they say like you're cringe, you thought you ate. It's all like other people are laughing at you is their
If
like big insult.
if you can answer my next question,
Hmm.
I will owe you a favor of your choosing.
Yes.
I got to see your hands. Who came up with the idea of the panopticon?
It's like a. I want to say it's like a Roman thing.
All right, forget it. Jeremy Bentham.
Hmm. Okay. Cool.
All right. So the other day, I wanted to run this by you real quickly because you brought up that these kids putting themselves online. There's this face that I see girls make when they take photos.
Duck
I'm
face.
I'm walking in New York the other day, and there's this girl walking toward us, and she stops, and she has her camera, and she does one of these with the camera or something.
Duck face.
Yeah, it's so like, do they think that makes them look cute?
Yes, it's the millennial. It's the like the millennial. There's actually a difference. Oh, so millennials used to do duck face, which is this,
Yeah,
but what the Gen Zs do now is they're trying to make their lips look fuller. So instead of like doing this,
yeah,
they like puff out their like they blow air into their lips.
yeah.
Yes, they think it makes their lips look fuller. It's a stupid trend that I like. I hated duck face. I hate this like Gen Z pout thing. It's all just stop putting yourself online.
I'm gonna start doing that. I think I'm gonna start posting
No,
photos of
it's
myself like that.
awful. Like I hate it. I hate all of these trends.
Had you gotten the question right, you could have told me to make that face and post it, and I would have had to do it.
Oh no, whatever will I do without being able to do
I
that?
don't know, but you did have a topic coming in.
I did. And it is actually about Gen Z. So my my friend, I told you, my friend
Okay,
is
is this like that thing like when you? I've got a question. It's not about me. It's about a friend. Is that what's really happening? Are these really you?
no, my friend, like her sister lives with her. My sister doesn't live with me. I don't have a 16-year-old sister.
All
So no,
right, that's what you say, but
she she has her sister living with her. Um and something that she's really struggling with, and we were discussing it today, is her sister is so selfish, but like not the way Ayn Rand uses selfish, not like, rationally self interested. She just literally is unaware of anyone else's like needs or comfort. She's selfish. And she does things really thoughtlessly. And you know how you talk about in prison, like the people slamming dominoes and they didn't give a shit about anybody around them?
Yes.
So that's what she's like. And she's going off to college next year, and she's going to be living potentially with a friend's family. And my friend is super stressed about this because like she knows that her sister is so selfish, and especially like to the people that she's living with. And we were discussing, she had told her sister, like, you need to stop being so selfish. And her sister said to her, but I don't realize that I am being selfish. I'm not trying to be selfish, I just don't realize that I am. So we were discussing how, especially with like a kid who is, she's 17, how do you make someone, and I know you can't make anyone do anything, but how do you teach someone that they are, how do you teach them to recognize something that they don't recognize?
Okay, so first of all, the person has to have a desire to do this.
Yeah.
And the person has to start looking inside. I mean, one of the ways that you find out about yourself, I can't remember, there's a word for this. Maybe you can find it. I don't know. But it's where there's the part of us that only we know. There's the part of us that other people and we know. And then there's a part of us that only other people know. In other words, there's a blind spot that we all have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't see everything about ourselves. So having a friend that can help you or family to tell you about these things helps immensely. That's one way. Be willing to accept what, when we do the criminal show, we've talked about the open channel, and you have to be open to, receptive to feedback and self-criticism. So have somebody else telling you things. Also, ask yourself, you just ask yourself questions. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What's my motivation? Ask yourself, how is my behavior negatively impacting other people? There's questions you have to ask, but you have to be willing to open your mind to be self-aware, to accept feedback, to pay attention to reality, to learn to reason. Does that make sense
So
to you? Am I making sense?
you are. So it's called the Johari window.
That's what it is. Okay.
Um. So I get what you're saying, but that's something that you as a person have to do. But what can she do as I'm going to say as a parent, because that's the
Yeah,
capacity
this
that
is
she's
what's going to
acting
piss me
in.
off, though. Look, you can't make people do something.
No, you can't. But
You can't. What you can do is stop allowing people to treat you a certain way. So if the girl asks that way, you tell her, listen, if you're going to be that way, I don't want you around me. Or if, I'm not going to cater to that stuff. We're not going to have a one-way relationship. You ultimately teach people how to treat you in life. And and this is including when you're dealing with little children. And if you allow that, then you're going to keep getting it. So you may not be able to ultimately change the other person. You can't. But if you don't like that behavior, then stop accepting it.
how does she stop accepting behavior from a child who is dependent on her?
Okay, the child is 17 years old.
Yes, she is, but that doesn't
Okay,
change the fact that
I'm
she's
going to go out on a
dependent.
limb. You tell me where I'm wrong. Does this woman give her sister money to go out with her friends? I'm going to bet she does. But does she? Right?
Yeah.
She does? Stop. So you're saying that she's dependent. When you say that, I'm thinking food, clothing, shelter. Not money to go to the arcade or whatever the hell these kids do. Not money to go out to the movies. Not paying for her phone, which I'm willing to bet she does as well. Like she might be dependent on her, but she doesn't have to give her all the amenities, which she does. I would bet that your friend is in large part contributing to the problem.
Probably.
Okay, well, that's the problem.
Um,
Because you can't control others, you can only control you. And your friend is not controlling herself. She is aiding and abetting the problem.
yeah.
You want to set it up, let her talk to me, your friend.
Oh my God, you would actually you'd somehow find a way to reach through the screen and kill each other. So, do you know what another, and it's not really an issue. It's an issue that she has, but I recognize that it's not an issue. Her husband is very negative about the sister and is like constantly on her case in a very negative and overbearing and shouty screamy kind of way. So my friend then feels like she's got to, you know, play the peacemaker and not give the child too much crap because the husband is constantly screaming at her. See, this is the thing that you do where you lean back and
Well,
you
because
breathe.
I'm processing this because you throw now something else into it. And I understand that all of these, whenever you're talking about relationships, they're embedded in broader systems. So I'm trying, you're saying this guy, he's doing things, the husband, but I don't know what's actually occurring. I only know what you're telling me. I could understand. That would aggravate me. Like if I had a wife, right? And my wife is giving my money or giving her money when we need money in the house to her derelict, degenerate sister. That would annoy me. I don't know though how much he's encouraged it or how much he encourages the wife to treat him that way. The only thing that any of these people can control is themselves. That's it. And so the 17-year-old, does she want to improve? If she does, there's things
She
you can do.
does.
Okay. Well, then you can follow the advice that I told you earlier. Your friend, she doesn't like it. Stop enabling it. The
Yeah.
husband, uh, I could get his perspective, but at the same time, no one's forcing him to stick around. He's probably been putting up with the same thing for a long time also. That's usually how these things work. So each of them gets to fix themselves. That's all you can fix.
Yeah. So that was my question for today was
That's it. Now it's over.
that yeah, now the episode's over. Christopher Smith says 17 lives at home. Yes. Obviously she's 17. She's a child.
Yeah, in America, I don't even think you're allowed to leave until you're 18. I don't know.
So in South Africa it's a little bit different. You don't
Of course it
generally
is.
Yeah, of course it is. You don't generally move out until you're like
40.
until you're well older. Um, some university students stay at res, like student housing, but for the most part, you don't leave home until 25, 26, 27. I mean, I lived with
Oh my
my
God.
my whole family lived together.
The
Me, my
puzzle, get
mom.
another piece of the puzzle.
You're welcome for this like view into my life.
No, not you. It's not your life. It's the whole country. I'm saying this is why I don't even think it's a real country.
It's a
It's like
great
it's
country.
an area. It's not. It's an area.
It's unincorporated territory.
Yeah.
Um, it would like this. He says they would be young to move out, but not have unheard of.
Well, that's
Like
true. But the question
kids,
seemed to be asked in a way like, why would anybody be doing this? Like, why would this
yeah,
person?
kids these days seem a lot more immature to me, and
Aha.
I don't know if this is just kids these days, because I'm older. But it just seems like a lot of the younger generation lacks a lot of like the maturity, and there's a lot of infantilization that's happening where they're like, I'm just a little bean. I don't know how to look after
Oh
myself.
Lord.
What?
A little bean.
I'm sorry, what would you
I
like?
have no idea. I would have no idea how to judge kids, like because you're always judging them from your framework,
Yeah.
right? And that's what always happens. It's like, have you ever seen the movie Oscar with Sylvester Stallone? It's a comedy where he plays a mobster.
No.
So Marissa Tomei, I think it is, plays his
Oh,
daughter.
she's
Yeah, yeah. If you ever see the movie she's in with, what's his name now, Philip Seymour Hoffman. They've
Mhm.
got like topless scenes. It's good stuff. But anyways, now I forgot what I was even going to say. Oh, Oscar. So it's Sylvester Stallone finds her, her record collection, and he's like, Bing Crosby, like, what? This is what you listen to, and it's meant to mock it because that's what every generation does. Oh my God, you're listening to Elvis? Look at those hips swivel, for God's sake. You know what I mean? That's just what happens. So when
Yeah.
we're here and you're like, these kids nowadays, like, I have no idea. I
Mm,
know. I mean, there's certain things that are universal, like kids getting money from people to go out because you can assume probably they're not working, and if they are, they're not making a lot of money. But other than that, I mean, it's not an easy thing to gauge. Look, they should be telling you should teach them honesty, self respect, get education, that type of thing. But saying these kids nowadays, because first of all, we're not hanging out with them, right?
no.
So you only get what they're
Well,
showing you. Like, did you act in front of your parents the same way you did when you were out with your friends?
I
I
don't
did,
know.
but because my parents were crooks, but most people didn't.
No. I didn't swear in front of my parents until I was like 27. I
Yeah,
wouldn't. And
I
also
was I
that was
was
just
10. Anyway, the
no.
other day, this is one of these cruel things, right? The human body ages. The mind doesn't seem to. Like, mentally, I don't feel 50 years old at all. So the other day, I went to the after party for the Soho Forum at Gene Epstein's place, and there's a lot of hot women there. They're all in their 20s, and I'm looking, and then it just occurred to me, like, if I were single and I went they and tried to talk to them, because I'm thinking I could fit right in. They'd think I was some creepy old dude. They'd be like, dude, like, get out of here, you weirdo. And there was this guy there, and he's 45, and I talked to him about that because there was a mirror. That's why. And I looked in the mirror and I said, oh my God, like, what's happening here? We had this conversation, and it's insane. It's just, but it's the way it is. But the point is that I couldn't fit with them. I wouldn't know how to relate to them, what to talk about, what to do. You just don't. I mean, it's just the way it is.
No, you don't look 50 though.
Well, thank you, appreciate that.
Um
I don't look 20 though. I mean, I can be sure of that.
you don't look 20. I mean,
No.
we could pass for the same age.
Who, you and me?
Yeah.
Well,
I think people would buy that we're the same age.
they might.
Um
I don't know.
no,
Depends. If
like
I've
look.
got my hair short, maybe. But if the hair starts to grow and the grays pop out,
Oh, Mr. Deagle, that's such a bitch comment. Um yeah, I don't know. I worry about the kids. My nephew is 16 and I look at him and I'm like, I don't think you're ready for the world.
the walled.
The world? Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely like it's difficult because he's also not doesn't have like drive, you know. Doesn't have
Well,
drive, doesn't have ambition. And I'm like, how do you teach that?
well, see, here's the thing. Like, the kids don't do. I'll go by, for instance, when I was a teenager, everybody on the weekends, you go hang out at Burger King. You've had 7 kids, 16-year-olds packed into a car, but they've changed the laws now, so you can't do that anymore. You just can't. So I don't know what the hell these kids do. I mean, because they can't be driving around with each other unless maybe they got an older friend. They can do that. But 16, you're not driving around. Uh, Plus, they've got phones now where you can FaceTime. It's just so different. There's no way for me to have any kind of gauge. When I was like 13, one of the things we used to do to meet chicks we'd look in the phone book. So I had my own phone, my private line, right, separate from my grandmother's main line. And when people do that, it would say children's phone. Now, when they're not doing that for little kids, you're usually a teenager when you get that. So I'm 13. We would look through the phone book for that, if children's phone, and call up and meet girls that way. I couldn't. Now they don't even have phone books, right? Like I couldn't do that. Well, so I don't know. We used to go to the mall to meet girls. I see people walking around the mall, but I don't know if they're there for that. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either because I don't spend time with children unless it's, to take my nephew shopping. I don't know what
Yeah.
they do. Uh, but Christopher Smith says he hasn't found his drive yet. You know why that's difficult for me to accept? Because when I was 15, I knew what I wanted to do with my life, and then I went and I did it. My sister knew what she wanted to do from when she was 12, and she went out and she did it. My friend knew when she was like by the time she got to high school what she wanted to do with her life. She went out and did it. So I don't get that. Like they don't have that drive yet because I had it when I was.
I mean, well, some kids have, like my friend Danny, when he was a kid, the kid, Danny in there, his mom told him that when the ice cream man rings the bell, it means he's out of ice cream.
Poor Danny. That's rude. Telling white lies to kids. Someone
I'm
like
only kidding. I was kidding. I think that's actually a Dave Chappelle joke, but I don't know.
So someone was talking about like what white lies parents have told to their kids, and so many parents tell their kids that their ears go red when they lie. And so when the kid lies, they cover their ears because they don't want their parent to see their ears go red.
Yeah, that's not good. I actually interviewed a guy a few years back, a psychologist, about the effects of teaching kids to lie and lying to kids and whatnot. It's not healthy. It's not a good thing. Like I remember my mother telling me, "Answer the phone. Tell them I'm not here." And that you're teaching kids bad habits that way. That I'm very certain of.
Whenever the sheriff showed up at my house and my dad was there, he used to tell me to answer the door and tell the sheriff that he wasn't there.
Yeah, you
Like,
see.
yeah, that guy, he was always like, "I guess your dad isn't home," and I'm like, "No." But eventually they became friends. They used to stay for dinner. He was like, "Here's your papers. You need to be at court now. I'll stay for dinner."
Yeah, my mother had me giving false statements to the cops when I was 9.
But I mean, I feel like that's different from like
No, that's insane.
that is insane. But I feel like it's different from telling like a toddler your ears go red when you lie.
Oh, of course it
Is
is, but
it?
it's still like
It's
don't
still
make that
bad.
face. You're gonna get stuck like that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, like my father told me that it was illegal to have the light on in the car when you drove. It was illegal to have a light on in the car.
it might be. That's
It's
dangerous.
it's he wasn't talking about like the dash light. He was talking about any light,
Oh,
right?
all
And
right.
it's not in South Africa.
South Africa. Okay, well, we're just about out of time here, so I want you to tell the folks anything that they need to know. But also, at 15 minutes from now, we're going to be doing crime, corrections, and culture on this very channel. This channel, which is
The rational alternative.
the Rational Alternative. All right, Seffi, tell them something, and then we'll go for a few and come
Uh,
back.
Please don't forget to go follow us on Twitch and on Spotify. And if you have any questions that you want us to address, leave them in the comments or submit them on the website. Comment on Spotify. Who cares? Just submit your questions any way you can. And it'll be
Yeah,
fun. And it'll
and we'll
be
try not to
easier.
do to you what she did to poor Akira.
Yeah, I'm the problem.
Be ethical. See you soon.